All of these are ways that you can rapid upskill. And what I mean by that is that you can put skills on your resume that you've actually done, but they only take a little bit of time to add. And you could even create a whole targeted section on your resume where you put some of these items. So let's talk about rapid upskilling. So this is a very handy strategy when you are about to go applying for jobs and you need to make your resume more positioned towards that field, that industry, or that position, especially if you don't already have a set of work experience that aligns well toward it. So this is very germane to college students who sometimes don't have lots of work experience. So how do you make a resume that looks like you're actually well-oriented toward a specific field? I call this rapid upskilling. And all that means is you're strategically going out to get items for your resume. You're not just stuffing it with fabricated experiences. You're going to go get these experiences, but you're going to do them in targeted ways that don't take a lot of time. So you don't have to get a 4-year degree in something to show that you have experience in it. You don't even have to take a whole 16-week college course in something to show you have experience in it. So what are some ways you can do this? One is something called Micro-Internships. There are even websites that help students find micro-internships like parkerdewey.com, but you can often find them yourself. Some internships will take 10, 20, 30 hours a week for 3, 6, 9 months, and you don't want to spend that much time just in an internship unless that internship is A, paid, and B, really in your career area. But for those of you just wanting a quick internship experience, you might be able to spend a couple hours a week for like a couple of months. And that's sufficient, A, to find out if you even like that field or some of that work, or B, to just put something on the resume in a certain industry niche. So how do you get a micro-internship? Because you're not asking for a ton, you can sometimes pitch them yourselves. A lot of people think the only way you can get work experience is if some other company hires you. That's not the case with rapid upskilling. The items I'm going to list here are things you can go out and do to put items on your resume that are quick. So one, a micro-internship. Is there a company or a person that you would like to work for just briefly? A couple hours a week for a couple of months, and you can tell them exactly what you'd like to do for them, or you can ask them if there's help that they could use if for just a limited amount of time. You might get told no a few times, but eventually someone will probably say yes. You're offering free labor, which is also why you don't want to make it take a lot of time, because your time is valuable. Then there's skill-based freelancing, and there's a lot of these gig platforms like Upwork and Freelancer.com and Fiverr.com. Now, my caveat here is be careful not to get sucked into gig work as your primary job. It's usually an unsustainable professional pathway. But if you want to showcase that you can do a certain software, for example, or that you're good at editing certain kinds of documents, you can go on to one of these platforms, make a profile, and offer your services really cheap. So that way you get selected. And once you've done 2 or 3 of them, you've gotten to hone that skill. You might even be able to put the work in some kind of online portfolio so that people can see you've done it. And maybe you probably even got paid a bit for it as well. So freelancing is a great way to build some of those sort of like intern adjacent skills and make some money along the way. You can also, for sort of training, look for online certifications or these micro courses. Lots of places offer them. Coursera.com, Udemy.com, LinkedIn Learning, and there's many more. They're things you can take in a few hours sometimes over a weekend or during after you get off work. You can spend half an hour watching courses, and some of them come with little badges or certifications at the end. Sometimes they cost a little bit, others are free, but gather up a few of those, especially if there's a specific area you want to break into. Also, don't overlook industry-based volunteering. Lots of us participate in causes and charities that we care about, but this can also be a way to show that you have industry-relevant experience and skills. So, do you like doing marketing? Do you like fundraising? Do you like, leading teams, or you want to show that you have these skills? Ask a charity if there's a way that you can volunteer time to that charity, but around a specific skill set that you want to show that you've done. And then, of course, that organization name might look good on your resume, that you helped them with their website or their managing teams or volunteers for their fundraising campaign. You can also use personal or academic projects. So maybe you want to create an online portfolio of the kind of graphic design you can do, or you want to show some of the kind of coding that you can do. You can often post these things in a simple website you make, a professional website, to showcase the work. And you can just make up projects of your own that show that you can actually do the tasks that you're trying to show an employer that you can do. In the contact section of your resume, even after your email address, you can put the website of your personal profile, or you could use your LinkedIn to post some of this work as well. That's another free and simple way to showcase a portfolio of work. Also, don't overlook how you can sometimes negotiate your coursework for a specific project. If you might have a final in a class anyway, and you think that you're in a class that is somehow related to a job that you want to apply for, consider asking the professor if you can do a alternative final or a midterm or some kind of project, and that you're wanting to write a paper about a certain thing or show a certain skill set. Now again, some might say no, but many will say yes. So it's always worth the ask. That's the key with a lot of these items in the rapid upskilling. It's about you just taking the initiative, you doing the asking rather than waiting to be asked. That's an important skill set, and it can also rapidly allow you to put new lines in that resume that make you stand apart. You could be what's sometimes called a micro TA or a micro RA. All that means is you approach one of your faculty people that you have a good relationship, good rapport with. Maybe you did well in their class, or they know who you are, and you say, "Hey, I have a few hours to volunteer, and I would love to put on my resume that I was a TA or an RA. I know that you probably can't just officially or formally hire me in that role right now, but is there a way that I could put on my resume that I was a TA or an RA, and can I volunteer an hour or two a week for a couple of months? Is there a specific project you need help with, maybe with some data, or maybe some grading or whatever?" And so different faculty will have different needs, and again, some might say no, but many will say yes and be happy to get a little help. And once you helped them a little bit, keep in mind, you can often then ask them for guidance and advice later. It's called the foot in the door phenomenon. If you do some small task for them, you can often later ask for more from them, and they're more likely and actually want to do more for you if they've already done something small for you in the past. This could lead to the next item, which is called flash mentoring. That's just-in-time learning, where maybe there's a specific project or problem you're having that you think a faculty person or a professional could help you with. And so you call them up and you say, "Hey, I'm wondering if I could just talk with you 2 or 3 times as I go through this project or as I go through this process or overcome this hurdle. I'd love your advice and expertise." And a lot of people are flattered to help a student and would be eager to help a student accomplish something, especially if it's concrete. They know it's only going to be a couple of times talking with you, and it's a limited duration and time. And then that person becomes an excellent candidate later to be a letter of recommendation writer or a reference. Lastly, it is helpful to start to hone an industry-based social media presence. So, say you're going into HR, then on your LinkedIn, find studies about HR, repost them, and write some, intelligent response for a paragraph about it. Or you can write your own articles and post them on LinkedIn and maybe link to some statistics you found related to that. If you're a creative, maybe it's something you're doing on Instagram, or if you're a writer, it could be on medium.com, or if you're a coder, it could be on github.com. There's different platforms for different industries. LinkedIn's a good catch-all for most industries. But by posting and interacting with certain types of industry-related content, you're creating a kind of track record on there, so that when an employer sees your LinkedIn URL on your resume and they go to look at your profile, they see that you have some posts about accounting or engineering or social work or whatever it is you're interested in. And you want that to be the first thing they see when they look for you online. Too many people, if I were an employer and I took their name and I Google their name, which does happen. Most employers will Google you, will search for you online. There have been many surveys of employers and they admit they do this. So it shouldn't be a surprise anymore. Might seem a little creepy or stalkery, but it's just a fact that employers will look for your online footprint. And as cool as it might be to have all those bikini pictures in Cancun or parties with the red cups, if that's the first thing the employer sees, you're maybe not getting the best first impression. But if they Google your name and instead they see a LinkedIn profile and a post about the social work that you're interested in or the marketing that you're interested in, then they realize, oh, this person has sort of a professional presence online. And that's something that LinkedIn can really quickly help you develop. So all of these are ways that you can rapid upskill. And what I mean by that is that you can put skills on your resume that you've actually done, but they only take a little bit of time to add. And you could even create a whole targeted section on your resume where you put some of these items, your micro-internship, a project you made, some LinkedIn posts that are in maybe a little portfolio almost, and a micro course you took. And suddenly you have a whole section to show how you are really positioning yourself as an HR professional. And guess what? You didn't have to go get a master's degree in HR to start showing that you are wanting to be taken seriously within that industry direction.